Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Musiak. Today, I am bringing you something different. I'm really excited about this. I am going to share an episode from a different podcast that I was doing with my husband, and it's called The His and Her Show with Jody and Alex Musiak. And it's all about us talking about triggers. So last week, I mentioned that I was going to talk about triggers, and I decided to go back into where my husband and I had a really good conversation about triggers. So get comfy and sit back and relax, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome to the His and Her Show with Jody
and Alex Musiak. And today we're going to talk about triggers and what that means and how they can teach us something about ourselves. So I'm going to let you take the ball with this because you spend a lot of time working on yourself, and yet that's kind of what you specialize in. You help people along with their triggers as well.
Yes, yeah. So last week we touched base with talking about owning your truth and things. I briefly mentioned for 2 seconds that people show us where we need to heal. And so triggers, and we kind of touched base about what a trigger is, but I'll refresh in case you missed that episode, is when somebody does something to us and we react, which is I'd like to say a hissy fit, but you get angry or
frustrated.
And I mean there's big things, and then
almost like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yes, I love that knee-jerk reaction. Now, I want to get this right out on the open right away. Their action might not be acceptable. It might be, and it might not be. They might be doing something really horrible to you,
mm-hmm.
and that is not acceptable. However, your reaction doesn't have to be that knee-jerk reaction either. So when they knee-jerk reaction you, it's something in you where it's there's fury,
you want to lash out somehow, verbally
it means that there's something, that person is showing up to show you something. Again, not all their actions, they're not acceptable, but it's just learning how to react in a different way, because when we come at it a different way, then we can handle the situation more clear-headed, and we can actually, depending on what level of, we're going to talk about just in general. And I even want to talk about I've had some relatives that cause knee-jerk reactions in me.
Sure.
And I was like, oh my goodness. And at first
where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, first off, before I even knew about triggers, I was blaming them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized oh, it's on me. And yes, that might seem oh crap, I suck, but it's not that. It's really empowering when you get to change your reactions to something. When you get to be okay, I don't have to act this way. This person doesn't have to make me feel this way. Their behaviors might not change, but in my experience, a lot of the time they usually change because you're now not expecting them to be the way that was triggering you in the first place.
Ah, yes.
So it's really just understanding that people are in our lives to show us where we need to heal. And one of the best things to do is to take a moment. And again, your best friend, the journal, is a good thing to write down. And if you need, when it happens, if you can excuse yourself in that moment, all the better. Maybe you can't get your journal, but there's phones where you can go to the bathroom and just pretend you're going to the bathroom, and you could write in your notepad on your phone or wherever you want to do I prefer not emails, have it locked down so this person can't find it, because you don't need to have that conversation with them.
No.
This is all between you and your you and you.
Yeah.
Conversation with you. So it's really just figuring out, what did they do that triggered you? How did that make you feel? And if that's all you can do in that moment, just write down, or even if you're in a place where you can be quiet, record yourself and be I feel like this right now, and just get it out on record, because phones have recorders. Yeah. Not even just out of you, just make a note. Okay. Because when you're in that heated moment, that's the best moment to understand what happened.
Gotcha.
However, it might not be the best time, one, to do the work.
To reflect.
To reflect, because you could be in a family function or in a big work party. It could be anywhere. And maybe you can't take that time at that moment. So document it if you can. If you can't, then it's just try your best to just hang on to those tips. Like, what did they do to trigger me? And for the most part, if it is a trigger, you'll most likely remember what the knee jerk reaction was, like what caused it. Because when you think about what happened again, you'll feel it again. So, but I like to do it as soon as possible, because then we also, the longer we wait to do something, the less likely we are to deal with the feelings that came up. So I do like to try and get it out of the way, or I don't even want to say out of the way, but I do try my best to make a point of doing it as soon as possible, like that same day or the day after, if need be. But I find that if I don't look at the triggers right away, I do forget about them.
Right.
Until the next time I get triggered, I'm like, oh, crap, I didn't deal with this again.
Yeah.
So it's like, and these people will keep triggering you until you heal that part of you. So what's the next step? After you figure out what the event is, or what they did, what they said, is when did you learn that that was unacceptable? When did you learn that that behavior, what they did, was unacceptable? And figure it out when it happened in your life. And then it's like, do you do that somewhere in your own life? Because a lot of the time, and I'm actually reading Debbie Ford's The Dark Side of the Light Chasers, and we can't see in ourselves, or we can't see in others what we don't have in ourselves. So it's really powerful. It's like, oh, I see something in them that I don't like.
I have that.
It's somewhere. Like, it might not, there's just something in, like, we all have everything. And it's just figuring out, like, why is that more intense? Like, why did that trigger me? And it's just it's about getting back to your childhood. Or it might not be as far back as your childhood, but in my experience, most of it goes back to childhood. And then we start putting on personas, and we grab other people's beliefs and all this other stuff. Making excuses. And just then all of a sudden we don't even know who we are, or we think we know who we are, but we're, following a lot of other things. So then these triggers come back, pow, like in your face. Do something about this. And that's really what it is. So it's really a blessing when somebody sets you off. It could be road rage. Like, right. Even when you're road raged, and that's something I'm still working on. I was like, why is that causing me grief? And a lot of the time, it might just be that I'm not centered either. It's really just taking some time to figure out what it is that's causing you that knee-jerk reaction. And it's so what was it? Where in your life do you use those behaviors? And you might not even be aware of these. Okay. Or it's like you used to, and maybe somebody made fun of you, or whatever it may be, but just journal the heck out of the knee-jerk reaction.
That's true, actually, because if the more you write about it, then it starts moving away from the actual event and more into what you felt like, and then from there, where is it coming from inside of you?
And once you understand that it's like, oh, it comes from this, you can heal it. It's like, oh, okay, like you can just understand it. It's even just shining light on it, and just like, oh, I see. I got this. Like, you can just understand it more. It's not about being mad at the person, or like, there's going to be things, like, I don't even want to talk about some of the things, like, people will make you angry about. Like, they could be really bad things. And,
or they could be very innocuous things, or things that, others might be like, why are you getting mad about it? I'm talking about, like, somebody harming you, and you get that. Like, that's not what I'm talking about here. I just want to be very clear. It's, when people just, say something to you or do something in your house that you just think is unacceptable, or things like that. That's what I'm talking about here. I don't want to put, any of the, like, intense things, like, sure.
I don't want to put that in this episode. That's a deeper healing experience that needs to happen. I'm talking about, like, it almost feels like somebody else might look at it and be like, it's unjustified, your reaction. Right.
But you reacted that way for a reason, and that's what you got to dig into and figure out. Yeah.
And the super important thing here is to love yourself. I say this, I'm broken record. Love yourself through this. It's not about beating yourself up that you got angry or got frustrated or sad and like cried and like, or stormed out of the room. It's like, wow, like, okay, something showed up. You own it. Like, you don't have to own it to anybody else but yourself. And it's just loving yourself through this process and be just super excited that you're actually going to heal a part of you that doesn't have to do this again. And before I forget to mention, you might find that when you heal a trigger from one person's like causing you grief, you might actually heal, like you might not have a reaction around somebody else either. Like I found like I healed something of mine that was from a family relative, and I realized that it was somebody like I think it's like killed two birds with one stone.
Right.
Like I literally helped a lot of things. Now this doesn't mean that you won't have a trigger by the same person down the road. It might just be something else.
Gotcha.
And it's really figuring out what that the action is, and just going back time, like whenever you can, and just tweaking. It's just like anything. It's, we do have to do laundry. We wear clothes. We have to wash them, and then we wear them again. Same with like, I'm not saying you have to rinse and repeat like every day or every week kind of thing, but now and then it's just, these triggers will show up in our lives, and they're there. They're blessings. They really are. They're very big blessings. Do I have every trigger healed in my world? No. Do I have I have a fair amount that have really helped me grow and strengthen some relationships. Like there's definitely some where I like, if I didn't do this, some people wouldn't be in my life right now because I would have been like, you're too much for me. But it's just figuring out what I needed to heal to make the relationship better. Now that means so some of the times when you do heal triggers, you actually change the other person as well. Mm. Now, it's not like you're like, ta-da, I changed you. It's your perspective really changed. You don't see that, that trigger's not in the front of your mind. And it's just, anyways, it's really magical when you can do this work. And,
So hopefully we can talk about this again on another episode, because there's a lot to unpack here and talk about.
Well, do you have any questions or?
Oh, nothing to get into right now. Well, one quick one that you mentioned, that someone could trigger you again and it might be something different, but it might be the same thing too, right? And you have to like go back and maybe work on that same area in your own life again.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Right? Yes, like some of our beliefs, some of our
really deep rooted stuff. Yeah. Okay,
for sure,
that makes sense.
Yeah. But for the most part, it can be just something else completely.
Like a weed in your garden that you pull and you think you got it all and you didn't.
Yeah.
Right? And then it pops back up again. Okay.
That is true too.
All right.
And it's okay. It happens, and it just happens a lot.
It's taking the time. You got to note your reaction, note what happened, note your reaction, and then give yourself the time to sort of dive a little deep and figure out what's really going on under the surface.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And be very patient with this process.
Of course. It sounds like something that you have to give yourself the time to do, for sure. But the benefits sound like they're definitely worth it.
Oh, definitely. So. Like it's a really amazing, and if you want, start small and just see like the benefits, just of starting small with a small trigger. Something that doesn't make you too... Maybe it's just like your husband doesn't put laundry away.
There we go.
For me, I just trip on it all the time, and it gets annoying making the bed. Anyways. It's not a trigger because I don't get mad. I just usually tell you about it.
Yeah, anyways, but I see what you're saying.
But like anything that'd be like, grr, like you want to say something, and you're frustrated, and then but you don't want to say something. That kind of thing. So, anyways. I hope that's helped. So no last words. I know I talked a lot this episode. No, it's
okay. No, it's important to get through all this stuff and give our listeners something to think about and work on. And I would just be dragging on the podcast with lots of questions. So maybe we'll revisit it again, maybe after I've got a chance to try it.
Okay, sounds great. Okay. What happens after you try triggers?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, we hope you have a beautiful day.
Bye for now.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the His and Hers Show with Jody and Alex Misiak. I am going to be back next week solo doing my my normal thing, hopefully, if life goes according to plan. It doesn't always. And I really just hope you enjoyed the His and Her show with my husband. We really, really, really loved doing this podcast together, like a lot. It was really sad when we stopped making new episodes. However, we did not stop sharing those episodes that we did before. So you can still find them. They are still available. And we just haven't been making more because with 2 young kids, 9 and 6.5, we just haven't been able to figure out a time that would work for us to do it without our house being loud and messy. Maybe we should just throw it on with our kids around. Maybe that could be a fun episode. Anyways, if you enjoyed it, you can find the link in the description of this podcast. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. And again, thanks for listening. Take care. Bye for now.